Hello and welcome to the quarterfinals of the online 2020 first ever chess Olympiad. It's going to be a fantastic day today. It's getting even more exciting the longer the tournament goes on. Some major clashes happening today, happening any second now. The match that comes up first is going to be India versus Armenia. Top board, Aronian versus Anand. Whoa. So I'm very lucky to be joined by Jovanka and not so lucky to have Bic producing. Only joking. I love you, Bic. But Jovanka, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so excited about this battle, actually. India versus Armenia. Basically, I think it will boil down to who plays better because these teams are so evenly matched. I really can't call it. Whoever's in form is going to take it, I think. Anand against Aronian. I don't know. Too close to call.
I totally agree. Very exciting matches that we're going to dive into the games very shortly. You can actually see this already, but let's look at the pairings. So the pairings are up, and
Yeah.
Anand Aronian,
Yeah.
Vidit Sargissian, and who else, Jovanka, do we have there?
Wow, we have some of the best women players in the world. We have Humpy, I think number 2 in the world, grandmaster, also playing against Elena Danielian, also a grandmaster. Yesterday, Danielian had a bad day at the office, but in the top league, top division, she did score 5 points out of 8, so she can perhaps bounce back. And then we have Harika Jonavali against Lilit McCutcheon. Lilit, an international master, again, strong. Then we have, this is a very interesting one. Nihal Sarin against Marty Rasin. Yeah, the juniors, yeah, it's just really unexpected. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I couldn't really call it. And then for me, the bottom board is a bit of a surprise. We have Avantika Agraval against Sargissian. I was expecting and perhaps predicting that Divya Deshmukh, who scored 4 points out of 5, would be the one playing, but we'll see how Avantika gets on.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, so we will, I think, catch up with the games because they're banging out the moves already now.
Yep.
Just to let everyone know at home, Anand is not actually 23-44 rated. Multiple world champion, 23-44. That'd be quite amusing. He might even lose his grandmaster title if he was that low. It's
Oh, Simon.
I know you can't lose your grandmaster title, thankfully, otherwise I might have lost it years ago. But it's just the chess.com ratings. They haven't played much, just to clarify. And we were going to go through the open moves extremely quickly now because there's so much going on,
Yeah.
and we want to get to the current position. But for those of you who like your openings, it starts with Petrov, and they're still playing their moves extremely speedily. So you would have to assume everything is all prepared. Now the Petrov is a very symmetrical position, and it's one of the most solid defenses that black can play because you get this basically solid structure. Interesting idea here now. Aronian gives up a pawn, plays bishop d5. The bishop cannot be taken because the bishop takes h2, which would win the queen. So
Yeah.
the bishop's looking very good. So slightly sacrificial idea. He even now exchanges the queens off, but he's got good development, good bishops, and now he does damage to white's pawn structure and plays bishop b4. Current position, Jovanka, is this structure here, which is obviously preparation. What
Yeah,
do
I
we
think it's
reckon?
obviously preparation. It's good preparation because, Aronian is a very famous martial player. He's used to giving up a pawn for this bishop pair. And I think here in this particular position, this weak pawn on d4 really doesn't count for much. It's just simply a nuisance. And I also quite like the fact that black has doubled these pawns on f2 and f3 because this is a terrible, terrible pawn structure. So I think black has great compensation. And actually, I can see this game fizzling out into a draw.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Ronian especially has come very well prepared to this game
Yeah.
because if you caught him on the interview yesterday, it was interesting to see his strategy when they were playing the slightly weaker team, and they won quite easily. I have to say it was against, I believe, Greece,
Greece.
and Aronian just said, the job that they should do as they're outrating their opponents is to play solidly. not take too many risks. And I think he knows what his job is in this game. He's playing black against one of the greatest players of all time. His job here is to keep it solid, don't take too many risks. A draw is a good result, and he's come well prepared. I mean, I do think, Anand's also probably reasonably happy because he knows how good Aronian is. He's playing his moves very quickly, and this pawn, if you get your king to d3, it's still an extra pawn. So it's not.
Wouldn't quite say he's reasonably happy. I mean, I'd say, because obviously the kind of strategy in these team events is that you win with white, or you put pressure with white, and you hold as black. And if you do more with black, well, that's just a bonus. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Anand would be happy with
the reason I say that is just,
even though I know that this is a draw against Aronian. Aronian is a great player. He still would have wanted to put pressure, and it's still that unpleasant feeling when you kind of walked into your opponent's preparation. It's not kind of nice.
Well, we have to think Anand is a minute up on the clock, and he's also playing his moves instantaneous. So I would have thought this is probably a line that Anand has looked at. I mean, isn't this? I mean, you could also say that white can push this position risk-free because he's got the extra pawn. And maybe, I mean, I think they'd both be happy. Maybe even, you don't want to lose with white either. But it's, I don't know. We'll see. It's a solid start.
We'll see. Yeah. With it's a top board. It's very exciting. But should we go down to the second board?
Definitely. This is Sargissian, Gabriel Sargissian, very solid player from Armenia, against Vidit, who is a real talent, Vidit, and got a lot of followers now on YouTube and Twitch, and he's a great player. So again, we're bang through the moves. We got Sargissian with the advantage of the white pieces.
Vidit is, of course, a big theoretician. I remember commenting when he was playing in the IMSA World Rapid and Blitz, and he just banged out this novelty in the Catalan just like that, and he just won very easily against Peter Lecker, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
And here, this is kind of in Sargissian's style, which is keep it solid. There's much more sharper ways you can play this. I mean, just very quickly, this is one recent idea, and I've always, the Rogosian is one of the most common openings. Don't want to speak too long, but after this, the point being that Magnus Carlsen ended up playing G4 against Giri and beating Giri in this position. So this is like, not in Sargissian style, shall we say. He wants to keep it solid, and he does that with some very solid moves. And this is a bit like one of the positions we looked at yesterday, Jovanka.
It looks like one of the Nimzo Indians, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And many exchanges, black playing very solidly here. It's going to be a really tight match, isn't it? Just, you can tell this already. Knight E2 played, and that knight is going to try to come round, open c-file. And again, you would probably think that both sides are reasonably happy here, because they.
Well, yeah, I would prefer. I like black's position, to be honest. I don't see if there's a problem with black's position. The weak bishop has gone, which is the weak light square bishop, that is gone. But at the same time, that we've kind of mentioned it yesterday, that bad bishops are bad bishops, but they're brilliant defenders, and perhaps you will feel that absence on the queen side. I agree with you. Both sides should be happy. I personally would take black, just because this bishop on d6 is just amazing.
It's much better than the counterparts, isn't it? I mean, I think yesterday you mentioned a plan maybe of a3 and bishop b4, which I found quite an interest, because I've never heard about that plan before. So I learned something from you yesterday, Jovanka. This idea potentially that white could play at some moment. Let's move over to Humpy. So this is the board 3 game, and this is one where India is certainly going to be hoping they're going to get victory, because Humpy has the advantage of the white pieces. I think it's fair to say, much higher. Well, I say 100 points or so higher rated than Elina, who's a very strong player in her own right, but they still want to hope that Humpy gets something with the white pieces here. And
definitely, India will be looking to score points on the women's boards, just because although Armenia have very, very strong players, just because of the higher ratings of Harika Dronovali and Humpy Koneru. So Humpy plays very safe but very stable chess. One of the things I like about her is that she actually plays quite quickly. So you can actually see that with the timings. You know, Humpy has 12 minutes and 45 seconds. Meanwhile, Danielian, perhaps surprised by the choice, the opening choice, has 8 minutes and 53 seconds. So, yeah. You also have to remember psychologically that Danielian might be suffering from yesterday's defeat. She lost to Stavroula yesterday from Greece, 2-0. So that has to be at the back of your mind somehow. But we'll see whether Danielian can recover.
I think you're totally right, Jovanka. I mean, when I've done team competitions and had a loss or two in a row, you start to feel the pressure a lot more, because in an individual event you're just annoyed with yourself. That's why one of the reasons I really love chess is you can't really blame anyone else. You know, like in football, you can always blame the goalkeeper. You know, in nearly every team event or something, you can find someone to blame. In chess, if it goes wrong, it's your own fault. So you've got to suck it up and, you know, punish yourself or learn. And when you've had a couple of losses like Alina did yesterday, you know, you're playing for your team. It's like, I can't lose again because I'm going to really let my team down. So the pressure's a little bit more, as you say, especially when you're playing someone as strong as Humpy. You know, it's not easy.
Yeah, so it's not easy, and she will be looking to claw back some points. So yeah, at the minute it looks quite balanced, and White does have a pressure. I mean, objectively, I think the position is equal, but there is pressure against this bishop on c5, and White is better developed. So
yeah, agree. And his ideas, you know, at the moment, knight takes b5 is a threat, attacking the bishop. So there's a little bit of problems that Black has to deal with here on board 3. Next board, and this is Lilit versus Harika, and both very strong female players, Jovanka, aren't they? I'm going to go through the moves very quickly. So for those of you, we'll get to the current position, but I'll allow you to mention both players. They're both very good players here as well. And okay, so we have a King's Indian. I actually lost to Lilit in the last Title Tuesday event, or one of the ones. She kind of crushed me. So I know she's pretty good at blitz chess, or maybe I'm just very bad, but one or the other. And it's a solid start. Bishop f4. Harika, one of the top female players in the world. Queen c1, trying to now maybe get rid of those bishops. And this seems a little bit odd to me to go c3, c4 with the queen on c1.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, you can go c4 in one move, can't you, Jovanka, in all these positions?
Yeah, you can, and it's double-edged to take it. So yeah, it does seem quite a cautious approach to do that.
It does. Yeah. And now we have the queen capturing, and I think this next move is key to Harika's plan, e5. This is a move that's going to liberate a lot of the black pieces. For example, these guys are not doing much, but if you can get that knight into e5, and suddenly everything comes to life. So black also doesn't really seem to have any weaknesses. So I think black's going to be very happy with the way this has gone. Especially, I mean, look at these moves, Jovanka. Now, you know.
I was just going to mention that there is, and then the next move, White plays Queen c4.
I know. Yeah, I mean, you've played c3, c4, and now you've played Queen takes c. You've lost a lot of tempo.
You've lost a lot of moves, like Queen c1, Queen c4, Queen c back to c1. Yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't like the way White's played this. I mean, it might still be okay for White, but you as you said, Jovanka, you've got to be pushing for advantage when you've got the white pieces. And I know the pressure's on. I know there's a lot of stress in this situation, but black must be at least equal now. I mean, probably just something like h5 is the normal move to play, but there might be other options here as well. You know, h5, h4 is quite a useful plan anyway.
Yeah, it is quite a useful plan, yeah.
So I think black's okay. So black's actually playing much more aggressively, attacking this one on b2. But Harika doing okay there, Jovanka, yeah?
I think so. I mean, I was trying to figure out what was going to be the answer after knight c3. So I'm glad to see that Lilit is sped up a little bit, because again, big time difference, 10 minutes versus 7. And this time control, although it sounds like, the players have a lot of time, they actually don't. 15 minutes, 5 seconds isn't that much time. And often the critical stages in the middle game are kind of conducted in time travel, and that's when things go completely wrong. So yeah, 7 minutes, too much time.
I mean, I think here, Jovanka, I mean, if I was black, I would be very tempted to take on c3 because I'm going to cause some structural damage. At some point, white has
to take with the pawn, doesn't she, as opposed to the...
Yeah, but after the pawn, now I play this move. And I'm thinking, okay, I mean, you do have the open b5. This is a safe way to play. It might not be best, but I'm thinking in the long run, is your split pawn's going to prove to be weak? This is one way to play. Maybe not the best, but it's a simple way for black to play without any worries whatsoever.
Yeah, no, and I also wondered whether you could do something a little bit more aggressive as well, because yeah, after knight takes knight, I like that move. The pawn on h6 isn't on prise, so to speak, because this pawn on c3 is on prise.
Right, got it. So you can take here.
You do have a move. Yeah, and I'm just thinking maybe we could use that time to develop a piece.
Maybe something like bishop g4 is very useful.
Yeah, that's what kind of...
I like that. Yeah,
came to mind immediately.
Yeah, and this is the kind of move that's, even if the bishop gets chased away, you want to provoke a weakness. Like f3 is an ugly move for white. You block the bishop, you create weaknesses on this diagonal. So bishop g4.
And even moves like, they might go, well, what about e2, e4? But if you play e4, it does stop this bishop. It does jam in this bishop on g2. Yeah,
it does. The only idea, I suppose, white can do with e4 is to quickly go f4 and e5 to justify it. But black's certainly okay. I mean, black's got no worries. Yeah,
black is more than okay. Yeah. So
by the way, we did have just a couple more moves: knight takes c3, b takes, and just h5. I mean, I suppose at some point it's going to have to be moved. So it looks fairly even, but black's okay. Now, this is also a board I'm very excited in, Jovanka. This is the junior board, Nihal Sarin versus Hake, and these are two incredibly talented players. And again, we're going to go for the moves. Nihal Sarin with the white pieces. You could be looking at future world champions here. The Petrosian variation is actually a prophylactic way to stop bishop b4, favoured by quite a lot of strong players over their lifetime. Kasparov played it. And now queen c2, g6. And this is all very normal stuff here. And we will get again to the current position with black's king now not entirely comfortable. King g7, getting more comfortable. Rook c8, queen e2, queen e7, and now trying to use the a pawn to create some mischief. And we have this position, Jovanka, after rook c7. So
I like the white position. White has a nice plan of playing a4, a5, making use of this rook on a1. And I'm a big fan of playing with those pawns in the center.
Yeah,
I don't know. One of the things about having pawns in the center is often you feel a stress that you have to push them forward, but you actually don't. Sometimes you can just sit there with them and just enjoy your space. Okay, they take up squares. They control c5 and e5. And
I totally agree. It's actually, when you've got these pawns like you get in the Grunfeld, they just have really nice control. And when you push them, you actually create weaknesses. So you just sort of sit them and you actually then attack on the wings. I mean, white, Jovanka could even, I know a4, a5 is coming, but h4, h5 is not ridiculous because the black king is slightly weakened, no dark square bishop. You can transfer to the king side as well, but a5 has been played, Jovanka.
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, once you've got the control and the center is stable, then I don't see there's any reason not to play h4, h5 and soften up the king side.
Yeah, and this, I would agree with Jovanka here. White's opening. White is in no danger whatsoever. Got a nice center. I mean, black, this is a way that black can play, and black's going to try to come in maybe on the queen side. But I don't like black's knights.
There are no squares to penetrate. You mean you can penetrate on c3, but
yeah, it's not easy to come up with a plan, is it? I mean,
not easy. No.
I mean, the other thing you can do, like you often do in a Grunfeld, and this is the same structure you get from the Grunfeld opening, if anyone knows that, is you can at some point try e5. Yeah. This is a Grunfeld idea, maybe not now. And after d5, you try to get your knight to d6. This is the problem, though. It's going to take a lot of moves to get your knight in front of that pawn. If you can get this kind of structure, this is kind of okay. But White's made a lot of progress with
Exactly.
A4, A5.
White is very quick, has been very quick with A4, A5, and suddenly,
Yeah.
if the weakness has transferred, it was now the B6 pawn is weak. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely I think both like Nihal's position. Yeah.
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 So it is.
Yeah.
We look at the last board, which is the junior under 20 girls.
Okay, and again, I'll whiz through the opening moves, and we have a King's Indian defense, the most positional line that White can play against this with Bishop G2, avoiding a lot of attacking ideas that Black has, and now some symmetrical pawn structure where it's White who grabs a pawn, but Black is getting quite a lot of pressure against that. I wouldn't be surprised a lot of this is theory. Rook A3 being played, and White's a pawn up, but White's pawns are a little bit ugly and Black's quite active.
I like White. I think White is just a simple pawn up because it's a D4 pawn, and
nice
that's my extra pawn. That's my extra pawn, and it's protected by a pawn on E3. Okay, the only issue I can see is that this bishop on C1 isn't in the game.
Yeah.
And okay, I have these double pawns on B3, but I mean, the thing is with double pawns, if they can move forward, they're not that weak, and they're also not that weak because the consequence of exchanging pawns is that lines get opened, and White has control of the A line. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly Black who has to prove the compensation, but I think like we saw in Harika's game, with this quite clever last move, it's going to be the same break that Harika played, and that's going to be E5. Yeah. And let's just say you get exchange off and White tries Bishop D2, which may be a mistake. All of a sudden you get E5 in, and you're going to win the D4 pawn. And I'm not entirely sure what White is going to do against this E5 move. And it could be that Black's pieces are going to really spring into life here when this move happens. Can you go F4?
I mean, you can play F4. I mean, you also can. I was wondering whether you could do something else.
Sure.
Like Knight F4 and.
Knight F4 looks like a good move as well. Yeah. Now, do I even come to B5? Maybe. I'm not sure if that's the right square. I'm just trying to at least get my pawn back. Knight A5, take on B3.
Yeah. But you see, now I can play Bishop D2, and
Bishop D2.
Assuming, yeah. So that
no, I'll definitely get my E5 in.
Yeah, you can play E5, but then then I'm going to take it, and.
Yeah, it seems like Black's very active.
Black is active. Yeah. Black has compensation, but yeah, I don't think. Yeah. Okay. So maybe White isn't a clear pawn up, so to speak. Maybe Black does have some compensation, but.
By the way, sorry, Jovanka, we did have the move F4, which
this
also seems like
so keen on.
Yeah, but E5 is such a liberating move. At least it is sort of stopping that break for now. I mean, it seems sensible-ish to me to play this. Yes. Okay, yeah, interesting.
But I mean, okay, we can see Bishop D2 might be happening and Bishop C3, and then White has repaired her position and then can play with that extra pawn.
Yeah. And it is Black who has to prove it. As you mentioned, Black has to prove the compensation. If Black doesn't prove it, White's going to get that pawn up, convert it to a queen later on. Simple as that. Simple as that. Just make it a queen.
Here first.
Just make it a queen. I mean, F6 played, so Black is really insisting on playing E5.
Yeah,
but,
I think.
I think it's just about enough compensation with Black, but maybe White's in the easier position. Now, there's been loads of moves on board one.
Okay.
Wow. And whoa, it seems like Aronian is what's happened. They're playing. I know they're both quick players, but they're playing. It's not blitz chess, as someone told them. And Aronian, it seems to me, is actually outplaying Vichy. He's won the pawn back, and now if anyone's going to be worse, it's White. Okay, it should still be a draw, of course, but this is getting to the current. Look how many moves they've played. It's insane. And black is now a pawn up.
Yeah.
No, he's not a pawn up because that one's dropping. Okay,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a draw, isn't it?
No, it's rook takes f3. So
Rook takes f3.
so he will be a pawn up.
Yeah, and they have played. Okay, of course they played another 5 moves just while I've been talking, but this position should be a draw.
It should be a draw, but it's not. I don't think it's so trivial. But I think well, you know, now I look at it, I think it probably is. I mean, it does have some traps and tricks.
I think Anand will be very confident in holding the draw, especially after this move.
Okay, so after f4, I think
this is a very clever move, and the reason they play so quick, I mean, they either really know what they're doing, or I mean, this is just a dead draw now. I think black can't make any progress. The rook's just going to check. The pawns are not mobile at all, meaning they can't move.
I think for Anand it's a comfortable draw.
Yeah.
Top draw.
So you were right there, Jovanka. I mean, Aronian made that draw look very easy, and he did it quickly. Yeah. So 7 minutes still on his clock, which is impressive. So this will be a draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now back to Sargissian versus Vidit, and now basically Vidit is offering a draw here, which is okay when you've got the black pieces. There's nothing wrong with that, but Sargissian realizes he can't waste his white pieces against such a strong team. And we have this typical situation, these 2 pawns here. We talked about this yesterday. You get this scenario a lot when they're on open lines. They can help each other out, those 2 pawns, so they can support each other. Are they strong? Are they weak? They're that hanging pawn position, one of the pawn structures every player should know in the middle game, the ways to play against them and how to play. Well,
I really like them. I really like hanging pawns because again, I kind of stress you should not feel obliged to push those pawns. It's just really all about, okay, well, I think here in this case he was forced, but it's all about the control that they have. They control 4 squares between them. Just if your opponent doesn't do anything decisive like e3, e4, then just sit there and just improve your position.
Yeah. And the one thing White's going to be hoping on here is to maybe use the c4 pawn. And the hanging pawns, when they get locked like this, they lose a lot of their power, don't they? It's worth pointing out when they get blockaded.
Yes.
I mean, it can still be dangerous later on if the d pawn can move ever 1 more square, but White has at least blockaded them for now, which is
right.
Which is good.
But still, there's a problem that White did give up a lot actually to get them. You got the knight coming to e5 at the right time. So I think this is why you saw knight g4. And yeah.
And now queen c1. We are currently here. Draw on board 1. Just to let everyone know. I can see Vidit's camera is, as it often does when you get concentrating, you change your angle. There. Oh, there he is. There's Vidit. So queen c1, and you prefer black here, Jovanka, yeah?
Yes, I like black's position. I just think.
Can you go d3? I mean, I know it's very risky because I might just lose that pawn, but if it works, it works. So let's just see. Okay. Can you go d3?
Yeah, because where are you going to go? You have to go. Where are you going to go with your
uncomfortable?
Rook c4. Because if you go rook d2, I have bishop f4.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Yeah. Because I'm just winning the exchange here, which is very good.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
So you have to play. Oh, this didn't happen, by the way. Black went for another strategy, which might be very, very clever as well. Pushing that pawn does weaken it, double edge. Black actually went to take on g3, and he gets rid of this bishop. And now he plays rook c6, and I think he's going to try and coordinate that knight at the right moment, and use those pawns that you like, Jovanka. Start pushing them. He may even go rook c8 and just try to go c4.
That looks good. That is good. Also, there's ideas. It's a bit like a dream in my dreams. Perhaps never will happen, but I can also see situations where a knight can find itself onto g4, and then all we need is a queen on the h line, and we'll be checkmate. or an attack. Yes, on h2.
I like your way of thinking. Just look at your opponent's king and think, right, how can I kill you? And
Yeah, okay.
you know,
It's just
well, why not? I mean,
I say
actually,
it's wishful thinking. It's not quite. I mean, maybe it might happen. You know, after knight e5, it's nice to put the knight on that.
yeah. I mean, knight e5 is a tricky little square because you've also got the idea, and we just showed it, so the knight coming into this square here.
Yeah.
And if anyone can imagine that, that's going to be a nasty fork on the queen and rook.
Yeah.
Vidit is not rushing to play this move. Instead, he's preparing this option. I mean, he can play knight e5, but does he want to play c4, enter a lot of exchange? The only danger I think Black has, Black would love to have the pawn back on g7. Because if he does play d3 and somehow this bishop gets on this diagonal, does these dart, you know, weaken dart squares. You just got to be a little bit careful that you don't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen. Oh, is he going to go knight g4, Jovanka? Come on.
I don't think so. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play very sensible chess. That's what I've noticed. I mean, maybe he'll play. He could even start with some kind of h5, h4 at the right time and soften up the king side there, and then. But what I've noticed is that they concentrate on piece play. They're not pawn pushers. They like to improve their pieces, maneuver around a little bit, improving.
Yeah, Black's doing absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's planning for playing a c4. That's what I can see. C4, definitely. And then, you know, if you trade off all the rooks, you get queen and knight versus queen and bishop. Queen and bishop don't work as well as a queen and knight.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he'll go h5 and king h7 first.
Yeah, you know, h5 is quite nice because actually I think that White's king in a queen and knight endgame is actually probably a lot more in danger than the Black king, because if you can imagine a scenario with a pawn on h5 and then the knight come to g4, the king doesn't really have so many squares.
Yeah, and I'm also thinking h5, king h7, because when c4 is played, if Black wants to win this position, he's going to have to play c4. There's probably going to be mass exchanges on c4.
Yeah.
Then the back rank becomes a little bit weak. So if you have your king on h7, it just improves that. And there doesn't seem to be any rush to play it, even though obviously if c4 works very well, you play it. I mean, can you play it now and take on c4? I mean, you have to think about this move.
Yeah.
White will have to take this pawn. It can't be allowed to go forwards. And can you now play this move with the idea of knight b2, some tactical possibility?
Yeah, it looks quite interesting.
So Vidit's doing well there. Okay, should we catch up?
Go down because I can see the clocks are ticking down to the seconds.
Can you believe they got a normal position, Jovanka, and they got under 20 seconds left each?
It's crazy. It's a crazy kind of scenario, and here is where you're in danger of panicking. I think it's an online chess. It's like your worst enemy.
This is the kind of thing where any result's possible just because of the time. I mean, you have to move within 5 seconds.
Yeah, so, and who has the easier moves to make? That's it.
Yeah.
So if White can simply go rook c5 and rook c1 like she's just done, and Black can follow in a similar suit in a very natural, keep it natural. So some moves like rook takes c8 are quite handy if they were. So I like knight d4 because say rook takes c8, you already have your answer to as Black. You don't have to waste any time thinking about it. One of the trends I've also noticed in online chess is that when people are in time trouble, they tend to simplify, and it's like too much tension in the position, and so they just have to simplify, just exchange absolutely everything, and that's again another mistake that can be made.
Yeah, I mean, there's also this game is okay. Look at the time. Black is so short. My money's on Humpy here because I think White has a bit more control of the position, but
I agree.
I want to just bounce to a couple of positions because there's excitement everywhere and it's really hard to keep up with it. I mean, next board, very quickly. This one here, it looks equal. The time is getting very low for White though. And Black has some chances to just be annoying. You know, you're going to win that pawn. You can play on forever. So Harika doing well. We're going to bounce to Nihal's Sarins game. Only current positions. Nihal getting very low on time. He's a pawn up and his queen is coming back round now. So as long as he's very good blitz player, Nihal. So I think my money's on Nihal here. I don't think black can take on d4
No,
because the
because the
white
queen
queen will
of
come in.
6.
And then the last game is another one. No time left for either player. Lots of the positions are looking so tight. This is such a close match.
Yeah.
Such a close match. And this one, of course, should be pretty even. Maybe white's to be favoured a little bit because the rook's more active. The knight has ideas coming here. Slightly better for white. Better time for white. Look at black's time.
And easy moves to play. I think that's the key thing as well.
Easy moves to
very
play.
Very simple moves. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know where to go. There's so much action.
Let's go to the Humpy. The Humpy game.
Back to Humpy.
Okay, so they
should of course be a draw now.
It should be a draw now. So things are clarified.
Yeah. As long as neither side blunders, which is totally possible with this time, it's equal there.
And let's go to Vidit.
Vidit, lots more moves being played, and h5 was played, and suddenly we do get to this position, and wow, the moves are coming quick. They're coming fast, and I'm not sure about Vidit's play here. It seems like Sargissian has managed to maneuver his pieces into nice squares. By the way, we have a result. We have a result. Okay. The result is Harika won that one very quickly. Well done, Harika. So India won 1.5. Yeah. Back to Vidit's game. Sargissian, though, I think he's really coming through here because black's running out of moves. This is a very nice move, going for the ending.
Yeah.
Vidit's
Again, it's like knowing your endings, isn't it? So you know that the queen and bishop don't work as well as the queen and knight, but you know bishop is better than the knight. So off the top of queens.
Sargissian, an endgame specialist, brilliant endgame player, and he's won a pawn.
Yeah, I just wonder whether there's some h4s. Yeah, there is an h4.
Giving good counterplay, and if you take on f6, then there's a perpetual check. So white, if he wants to win, has to go here.
Yeah.
Now this is a very clever move because Vidit is keeping the tension. I think Vidit's over the worst now. I think he's escaped the worst.
I think so. I think Sargissian perhaps resolved the tension a little bit too quickly.
Yeah. Should we go to another one, Jovanka? Because again, it's so much going on. Now this one is Humpy's game, and look what's happening with that king. She suddenly got some.
Okay, well, it's almost feels like it's gonna be game over for. Oh, hang on a second. She can't go queen takes.
She can't go there because the queen d7.
The queen d7 and the h pawn.
Let's just show that. So in this position, you'd like to take the pawn with check, but this would be a critical mistake because black now has queen here check, and after the exchange of queens, well, you might just about be okay, but black's pawn
might be okay
dangerous.
Because of the f pawn.
Yeah, probably a draw there. So Humpy is trying to win, and they both got a lot more time. So we do have this ending.
We're going to see it.
We have this ending. Wow. Well, black is slight favourite because it's black's move, and black can
play queen e4.
Queen f5 is going to be a draw, yeah? Probably.
Yeah.
Queen f5. They shake hands. Probably a draw. Humpy's playing for a win.
But it's only if you see these moves, Simon.
Well,
I don't think she's playing for a win. I think she just got queen f5. I think the instinct was just to move the king.
I mean, queen e6 now, and Humpy could be losing.
Results, Simon.
Okay, wow. Okay, so Vidit won. Won?
What?
Vidit won?
What happened?
Did he win? This is a massive result.
Wow.
So pawn takes here, and look, white is a pawn up, queen a3, king h2, queen takes a4, queen g4, king f7, and oh my words.
He got his queen. Queen d7 check.
Words. Boom.
Wow, that is a gift. That is a gift. Oh, dear me.
That is the kind of
Okay, we also have another result on bottom board. I think Armenia have taken back a point.
Armenia have won. So that's a great result for Anna there. So, and it looks like there was another blunder here. So, and again, it's so much time control. Rook c7, knight e6. Thank you very much. So, is it all even? No, there's another result here.
No, yeah.
So India won up.
2-1, 2.5, 1.5.
2 games to go, yeah?
Yeah, 2 games to go. So let's go and check out. Humpy has a better position, and Sargsyan is a pawn up. So things are looking good for India. They're going to take the first game.
Yeah.
first leg.
Definitely. Yeah, it was the Sargissian game. Sargissian's such a legend for Armenia. He's helped Armenia win so many Olympiads. He really is a great team unit, but he just blundered. And that blunder of a whole point, Vidit, a bit of a hero there to keep his cool. And like you said, Jovanka is. Oh, but you know what? Actually, no, it's not so clear because in this game, it was Alina is pushing for a win.
Oh, Alina is pushing for the win.
It's Alina
okay.
pushing for the win. So maybe we'll stick with this one. The
Yes.
Nihal Sarin game could be a draw. So Alina needs to win this game. There's no doubt about that. Black has to win if there's any chance for Armenia. This is the key game.
Okay, but hang on a second. Where can she go with the king? Okay, where can white go?
She's got these.
Yes, exactly. You've got queen e4 check.
Wow.
You've got queen g4. So Armenia might... Okay, so now we play queen e4.
Queen
check.
e5. This is the only way. King f3.
Okay, king f3.
And then king somewhere.
No, king has to go to d6.
And now d4, yeah?
And d4.
And it should be winning. The white king's on a terrible square.
Yes. We hope.
Because there's no check. If you check here, I have queen f4 check.
Okay,
well, there's this check.
You check on the diagonal. That's kind of...
Yeah. I feel this is a winning position. The reason this is winning is it seems like white has a lot of checks, but black can block a lot of these checks. Like, for example, if you ever block the check with this move, let's say white goes queen here check, you play queen f4 check, and the queens have to come off and your pawn promotes. So there's this problems that the white king is in a terrible situation. It should be actually somewhere over here generally to avoid
wait one
the
second.
checks.
Wait 1 second.
Queen e6.
Have a result in the
King
Sarin
d2.
game.
Nihal Sarin.
He's won.
He's won. So India have done it. Congratulations,
India,
Nihal.
they've taken the first match.
So what happened there? Oh, black run out of time in a position that might have been a draw.
Yeah.
Nihal's done it. Nihal has done the job. Well done, Nihal.
So okay, so let's have a look at see whether Alina Danielian can.
It's actually funny because the position in Nihal's game to me looks like it should be a draw. Black's got a fortress. I don't think there's any way. But Hake just lost on time. He lost track of his clock. So India won the first leg, but
or maybe he disconnected. That's also something that can just. There could be some lag or something like that, and.
Yeah, bad time to disconnect.
Doesn't reach the servers, which is quite unfortunate.
Yeah, India have won though. The big news is India have won.
Have taken the first.
Close match, very close match. And this one, the result doesn't really make any difference to the standings because it's not done on game points, it's done on match points. India have now got over the winning mark, which is 3 points. They've got 3.5 points. So whatever the result here is pretty irrelevant to the standings. India taken the first leg, meaning Armenia need to win the next round to bring it to Armageddon. But one thing's for sure, very close match, very evenly matched teams here. And
I do feel that when it comes to Armageddon, that it doesn't really, what I like about it is there's just one game that decides Armageddon. And so it doesn't really, I feel that then the chances immediately become much more level because then it becomes all about the player, about nerves, clock handling, as opposed to strength in depth or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, I think...
just to answer someone's question, sorry, Jovanka, we are keeping an eye occasionally on the Twitch chat, and Krishna is saying, so if Armenia win the next leg 6-0, it goes to Armageddon. Yes, it does. It's match points, not game points. Game points, totally irrelevant. It's who wins the match. If it's 3-3, obviously, that means India go through. If it's 3.5, 2.5, or 6-0 to Armenia, then it's a playoff. Armageddon. One game from a random board.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, it's good to see I've got some fans in the chat. Bick, I love you, Bick. At least you and my mother, two people, and this one.
Yeah, no, I think Alina has it. Yeah, I mean the thing is with these endings is that you have to choose the right spot for your king, and when you have seconds left on your clock. And
Yeah,
also there's a danger that they might be repeating the moves a little bit.
I know.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's got better for white though, because somehow white's got her king to a much better
she keeps
square.
putting the king on d3, which I'm not that enthusiastic about.
No, this could actually end in perpetual very soon. You have to go back to d3.
Now you have to go back, and then
you have to go to d2 again, and this is the only way you can try.
Now this time let's try d2. Okay, good.
It's like a roundabout. I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I'm slightly concerned that there's going to be a threefold repetition. And the great thing is that Humpy doesn't actually need to even count which position.
I think she just puts her king on c2. Put the king on c2. This is the way to win, because then you've got queen d2.
Yeah, now we've got it.
Well, then, because d3 is either coming
we've got
queen
d3
d2.
now.
Yeah, so this is the way to win, cross check.
Yeah, so it's
the idea of a cross check, just to let everyone know, is you meet a check with a check, and this forces the queens off the board and gives you a winning king and pawn ending. This is why these endings are very, very tricky to play.
Okay, so now we're going to do d3.
Yeah, must be winning for black.
Must be black. No. Oh, okay.
Oh, this one? Okay. Oh, so she's trying to get another cross check in on either of these two squares.
Okay, so after queen c5, you have queen c3. Very sneaky.
And here you get the cross check, and then your pawn will promote. Yeah. And if white goes here, you have the cross check, and again the pawn will promote. So this is actually a very good way of doing it. And now the white king is forced away. Yeah, and now we can push that pawn.
Come on.
Push the pawn. Don't
push the pawn.
Oh, at last.
At last it happens. Okay. Now,
do you think she's pushing the pawn every 49th move to avoid the 50th?
Yeah, that's a nice trick actually.
Yeah, just to...
you maneuver, and then 49. Okay, make a pawn move.
This is so hard to draw, this, isn't it? Even if you can have a draw, you've got to be so careful. It's really,
I
really
know.
hard.
Queen c3, and there's still a question.
Yeah. So black needs to find the right square for the king.
I just think
queen.
king b2.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm with you there.
And now we can put king b2.
Yeah, totally with you. I mean, put the queen on c3 and king.
Now king b2, and then.
I like this one as well because it supports here, but you've got to go king b2. This is surely the way to win.
Move the king out of the way.
And then go d2.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes. And the pawn goes one square further.
I mean, but it's good strategy, actually, just to give a few random checks, just to give yourself some time to calm down, some time on the clock. And
do you know, funnily enough, Jovanka, what might have been better, though? It might have been better if Alina had drawn this game, because now she's going to win this game. It's 2.5, 3.5. And one of her teammates might feel even more guilty, you know, because if one of the people who lost had got a draw, it would have been a draw match. So maybe she just should do it for the team and offer a draw now, so it doesn't look so bad.
Yeah. So. Okay. But of course, you know, Sargissian gifting the point like that. But it would have been that's painful. But at the same time, Armenia had a dose of luck against India in the bottom board, in the junior under 20 girls. So it balances itself out.
So there we go. So that's the first round. Now, I'd just like to remind everyone of this quarterfinal activity today. So let's bring up the sort of, shall we say, funny diagram. Can't remember what it's called. And this will show you who's in the quarterfinal. The first commentating game of the day is what we're doing now. India, Armenia. The second round will start shortly. Azerbaijan versus Poland is the next match we're commentating on later. And then for some horrible reason for us, we've got Russia versus Hungary and USA versus Ukraine going on at the same time. I have no idea how we're going to do that. 12 games at once. And they're really good games, Jovanka, because we've got Russia, USA, Ukraine, and Hungary. How are we going to do that? I don't know. We will do it, though. Of course
we'll manage, but boy, there's going to be so much excitement. The game that I really can't wait to see is USA against Ukraine, because of course Ukraine, they absolutely stunned China with their victory over them. So looking at the teams, I'm thinking Ukraine might be favorites.
That's right. And just to let you know the time of the USA and Russia match, I'm just going to try to find it now. If I can, maybe we can just get a little update on that. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I do know off the top of my head. I know it in universal time. So universal time is like 4 p.m. So right. In terms of English time, I think it's 5 p.m. and then for Central European time, 6 p.m.
Okay,
that's off the top of my head.
So it's in about 3 hours from now. It's fair to say. Is that correct? 3 hours from now will be that very exciting matches that we have. But first of all, we've got to see if Armenia can bounce back.
Yeah.
Good. So I expect we're going to take a short break now, and then we'll be back, I think, very shortly. So with the second bit of this match, so we're going to see if it can happen. Do you think they can do it? Are we going to get an Armageddon, Jovanka?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? You know, I mean, these are two amazing teams. It comes down to nerves. It comes down to clock handling. It comes down to luck, as we saw. So yeah, anything can happen. But yeah, I mean, definitely Armenia have an uphill task. It's not going to be easy.
No. Sorry, someone did actually correct me. That's 4 hours from now. The big match, the big matches. Well, they're all big matches, but. USA versus Ukraine is a massive one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Russia play, Jovanka. Some real stars in that team.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing team, you know. They have world champions coming out of their head. I mean, Grishik is there. I mean, just in terms of the women, it's Kostenia, Goryashkina, Lagno, Gunina. It's just unbelievable.
Definitely. So we'll be back very shortly with the next bit of this exciting day of the quarterfinals. So see you all in about 5 minutes. Hello again, and we're getting ready for the second part of this first encounter of the day between India and Armenia. India took the first leg. The second leg, Armenia need to win to force an Armageddon. So it's going to be very exciting, very tense match was the first one, very exciting match. All games very, very close. Let's have one more look at the pairings. Of course, they swap colours this time around. Maybe there's some substitutions. And it doesn't look like there's any substitutions, Jovanka.
There is
there is.
one big substitution. And
Oh.
that is Aronian is out and Pragananda is in. And you have to remember that Pragananda scored 5 points out of 5. He got the whole 100% in the top division. So, yeah, definitely.
Super sub.
Yeah, of course. Again, they're sticking with Avantika Agrawal, which she was for me as a bit of a surprise choice. I was expecting that India would play Divya Deshmuth. She did very, very well in the top divisions. I think she won some spectacular games. So, yeah, we'll see how it works out. And what I like about the format of this is that every board is important. You can't just say, well, you know, we'll carry it in the... We're going to have superstars and then have a week under 20. If that works, if that doesn't work out, then you lose.
Yeah, it is important. And it's a really very clever format from FIDE, I think, Jovanka, because when you have the, I say, standard Olympiad, which is played over the board, you have the open section, and then you have the women's section, which are normally quite different. You don't have junior sections. You don't really have much of a crossover. And this is more of like a whole nation playing, because you've got juniors, you've got a mix, female, male, and it's nice. Yeah, it feels like a nice format, Jovanka.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about it is actually it forces this kind of setup actually forces federations to invest in every single level of their chess. You know, you have to have something for the superstars, some training for the women, some training for the juniors. You cannot be weak in one section. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's true. You have to. I mean, this is what all the strong chess nations have. You know, they have a process of development from a very young age, taking people all the way through. India has so many strong coaches, really good following in chess. Armenia is a chess nation. I mean, over there, Aronian's a superstar. You know, because he's so well known as, you know, like the footballers of England, or I don't know, the American footballers of America or something. So it's something we don't really have in England at low level. We don't have any kind of support structure.
I mean, it used to be the case in Armenia that the president of Armenia was the president of the Armenian Chess Federation.
You know you're going to get support when that's the case. I mean, I can just see Boris Johnson now, you know, coming along. Right, hello, chess guys. Bumbling along. No, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he opened up the London Chess Classic one time. It was really clear that he couldn't even play chess. So he said, he'll learn.
Yeah, of course he did. So, okay, so we'll now have a look at the preview of which teams are playing which in the quarterfinals, semi-finals tomorrow, and the finals on Sunday. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
India versus Armenia is the match we are now commentating on. India won the first leg. Armenia need to try and strike back to even the score, take it to Armageddon. Now, if I got my timings right, in an hour or so, this is 2 o'clock universal time. I don't even know what universal time means, but I'm just going to pretend I do. There is the match Azerbaijan versus Poland. And then at 4 o'clock universal time, again, there is 2 matches going on, because they just thought they'd make the commentators' life as difficult as possible and as exciting as possible. Russia versus Hungary and USA versus Ukraine. So it's going to be really exciting. Some really good matches. I mean, every match today is great. And it's a place in the semi-final, which is a major goal to have. And then, you know, you could win the whole thing. You could be champions of the online chess.
Yeah. And, you know, of course, you know, with this whole thing of COVID, you know, online chess is the future, I think. It's a little bit worrying actually when will we ever play over the board chess again, but yeah, it's, I think, definitely an important thing. I can tell you from experience that it's absolutely brilliant event. Actually, you such an exhilarating feeling playing for your country. So and it's great to have the chess fans behind you. I mean, it's very rare that, you know, you have this kind of sensation that you feel like the whole country is behind you. Everyone wants you to do well. The federation get behind you and cheer you on. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, it's nice. It's a very good event, keeping chess going, and chess has been obviously thriving. You know, one of the few positives of the COVID situation is, you know, our sport has become very popular and gained lots of momentum online, with many streamers pulling in major numbers. I mean, Hikaru just got a contract with a esports company, a very big one of the biggest ones, which you would never have heard of about 5 years ago. You know, people just laugh at the concept that a chess player would get brought up by a big esports company for serious amounts of money. So we're awaiting our call, me and Jovanka, the Ginger Double Team Act. So if you're one of those big esports people out there,
Yeah, we're available. Yeah,
we are. So it's but it's a good time for chess. It is an exciting time.
Just to confirm that 2 p.m. it'd be Russia versus Hungary in the quarterfinals, and at 4 p.m., which is 4 p.m. universal time, it will be Ukraine versus USA and Poland against Azerbaijan.
Oh, so I got that a little bit mixed up. Okay, so yeah, but there's still lots of good matches. So the next one after this,
it's incredible matches. You know, Azerbaijan is one of the most upcoming teams there is. I mean, everyone talks about India, but Azerbaijan, as you know, as a federation, as a country, they're pulling in lots of money. You know, and I can just see that by the women players and the junior players. They're becoming so strong.
Yeah. So the next match to confirm is Russia versus Hungary, and you know what? I'm just so I want to see the Russian team, you know, play. They just the history of chess and Russia. They're connected, aren't they? Really. They've got
this
of
is
great
an
history.
Amazing team. You know, it really is fantastic. Grishik, Artemiev, you have Nepomniachtchi. I mean, on and on and on, and yeah, it's just going to be absolutely brilliant. And what I love about them is that they are all playing in a venue. They're all lined up with their laptops and playing in the Russian chess club, the Moscow Chess Club, which I don't know if you've ever seen. It's like a huge, magnificent palace.
I mean, I've seen the pictures online, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, Russia's one place I would like to go to. Actually, it's one place I've never been to. I've been to Armenia, been to Yerevan, but not to Russia, and I'd love to go there and sort of just soak up some of the chess history over there. You know, but yeah, it's nice to see them playing in the same venue, the Russians, because it kind of feels like more of a team event. And I know they have great support for each other over in Russia, and they always have done.
Yeah, I mean, the Russian Federation really takes chess seriously as a sport. You know, there's like, I think it's true actually. I think when they fly to competitions in places that are difficult to get to, they just get given a jet, and they're like, okay, fine.
That's right.
Fly there, and then they have a physiotherapist on hand just to you know, make sure that they're relaxed. I mean, this is proper serious sporting stuff here.
Yeah,
I mean, for tennis or whatever, but not so standard for chess.
I can't really see again the English Chess Federation flying you guys over to the Olympiad with your own physio and your own private jet. I mean, they might give you the bus fare if you're lucky, but no, I mean, Russia's the home of chess, isn't it? It really is. They say that, and you've got lots of emerging nations, which is fantastic. China, Iran is another one, which is really coming through. But Russia has the history of chess behind it. You do it in schools in Russia. You always have done, which is great to see. So something we love. It'd be nice. Have you been to Russia, Jovanka, before?
Yeah, I've been to Russia. I've never been to Moscow. I've never been to St. Petersburg, but I've been to Khanty-Mansisk.
Khanty-Mansisk. Okay. Yes. And that's a long way up in the north. Is that correct? Or it's a long way somewhere outside of the
Siberia,
capital?
that's all I know.
Siberia.
I'm really bad at geography. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm bad at maths, I'm also bad at geography. So it's all I know is Siberia. I've also been to Katerinburg, which was quite nice. It's the yeah, I just know it for its historical reasons, actually.
So the reason we're not moving on to the games is they haven't started yet. If you're wondering why, we are just awaiting for that to get ready. Obviously, one of the things you've got to bear in mind when things are played over the internet is everyone is playing from different venues, and it does sometimes affect the running of stuff a little bit, understandably. So far there is, we're just awaiting for them to kick off. So don't worry, you're not missing any of the action. The action's going to be coming. You're not going to miss either India coming through or Armageddon.
We are definitely going to be here. We are going to report back on everything, right, Simon? Because after all, we have to know, will Armenia do it? Will they manage to win the match and take it to Armageddon?
Yes.
We have to find that out.
One thing we'd like to say that yesterday we had some brilliant Armageddons, and let's talk about the Armageddon rule, which is again quite unique. If, for example, Armenia do win in the next match against India, it goes to Armageddon. So what happens in Armageddon? Well, the first thing is a random board is picked by chance, by luck, by a draw. So it could be Aronian versus Anand. It could be the junior board. It could be the female board. Yeah. And it's only that game which counts.
Yeah.
And you can see the rules here, Jovanka, that it's 5 minutes to white, 4 minutes to black. Winner takes all. Yeah.
I mean, one of the important things is that it's a category of player. So you can have a man. So there are 4 categories in the team. You have a man, woman, and you have junior under 20, and you have a female under 20. So one of those categories will get picked, and someone will have to step up and play for the team. And like I said, it's so brilliant. It's such a novel concept, because automatically you would think that, okay, well, perhaps the best player on the team would get the chance to play Armageddon. But here, it's like, okay, well, if the junior girl under 20 is chosen, someone has to step up and play that. And it all depends on that. And again, it re-emphasizes that point that every team member is important. You can't just focus all your energy and all your money into one section. It has to be spread out to everyone on the team.
That's true. And that's why, I mean, let's just remind everyone, you can't pick who plays the Armageddon. It is random. You don't know which board is going to be playing in the Armageddon. It could be you just don't know until the last moment. So I expect some people will deal with the pressure better than others. I'm not sure how good I mean, I think as chess players, to be a successful chess player, you have to learn to cope with pressure. Otherwise, you'll never be that successful. But certainly some people cope with it better than others. I mean, I can remember Mickey Adams, Jovanka, probably the best ever English-British chess player of all time, the strongest ever. And I played him in a 5-minute competition, the Mind Sports Olympiad, where first prize, this is how long ago it was a round the world trip in a Concorde. Oh yeah, first class. Pretty good stuff and good prize money. And I was playing him in a critical 5-minute game, and I won a piece after about 8 moves for nothing. He put his bishop somewhere, and he allowed me to fork the bishop with a queen check, and I just won a piece. I was only about 18, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't mean to do it, but I kind of like started laughing out of nervousness. And I was like, well, what? You know, and I thought, you know, obviously quite rude. I didn't really mean to, but I looked at his face, expecting him to be in a state of shock, because, you know, maybe he's lost his round the world trip in a Concorde, which is quite cool. And nothing at all. The Iceman, no emotion. And it was like, you know, I was thinking, why is he not showing emotion? I've just won a piece. And you start thinking, well, hang a minute, have I missed something? I didn't miss something, but then he just played. He didn't resign. Obviously, he's played me. He just kept playing his normal pace, totally outplayed me, a piece down, and beat me. And I thought, and it was really embarrassing because there was quite a big crowd. I didn't get my round the world trip in a Concorde. I actually don't like flying, so it's not the end of the world, but I would have made a nice profit selling it to someone. And yeah, so but that you can just see some players, they are so cool. Even if they're scared inside, they can just calm their nerves down in key moments. In probably every sport, Jovanka, this is true, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, you actually see many sportsmen use techniques to kind of like, for instance, Nadal keeps adjusting his trousers, his shorts, and he does that to get into flow. And you have all these like tics. Some people like fidget with their queen, and they're trying to get into flow, and they're trying to get them into that state where they don't feel any emotion, and it's just excitement. Because this is what you want to be. You want to be excited and so absorbed into your game that you just don't have space for nervousness or any other emotion. You just want to be like, okay, I'm just going to play chess, and you just don't think about the results. Some of my best results personally have come when I just thinking about the game, not I'm going to be a grandmaster or I'm going to win lots of money if I win the game. Just I focus on the game, and then it's like, okay, I won. That's a nice feeling, actually. Actually, when you get into that state, when your opponent comes and shakes hands with you, you're quite often going, well, wait 1 second, I didn't offer a draw. It's always taken me a while to kind of a second or so to kind of acknowledge, oh, okay, they're resigning.
It's nice, yeah. So, would you say, Jovanka, yourself, you're a nervous player? Do you get? I mean, I think everyone gets nervous, but does it affect? You just mentioned it a second ago, but do you think you show your nerves at board?
Yeah, it affects me. I get nervous. A lot of it is based on temperament, actually. I mean, if you're naturally quite an excitable person, gets passionate about things, then I think it's much easier. It's much easier to get nervous or to feel emotion or to kind of feel like, okay, well, you should be winning, or to get frustrated. If you're just one of these people who are just like, anything goes, cool, then then it's much easier for you to be calm. And I know certain countries practice on yoga, and they practice on meditation, and these kind of things really help. So yeah, I mean, but I think the vast majority of people do struggle with nervousness, excitement, and all those emotions. But I mean, I remember watching Magnus Carlsen, and he played against Hikaru Nakamura in some, I think, Fischer random chess. I'm not, and they monitored the heart rates, and he had a constant of 100 or something ridiculously low, and they kind of christened him like Mr. 104, and he had this amazing heart rate, and he just, even when he lost pieces or was struggling, it was still 104. And yeah, I was impressed.
Yeah, he's a calm guy, that one. And I think it's also in life, you sort of it's how you face fear, it's how you face things. You can turn most things into a positive, with training and stuff. And it's probably the same in chess. When you're nervous, you should try to turn that into a positive energy of some sort. But some people are just much cooler than others. I mean, I get pretty emotional when I'm playing, and hopefully that sometimes helps. I've often been told that I sort of nod my head, I'm like, oh, which is a bit odd. So I'm just like that dog. What's it? The dog you put in the back of the car. Do you remember the one you get free? The nodding dog. So I'm just like, which must really piss my opponents off. It's like, what's he doing? When I was a junior, I remember I was playing King's Crusher, and this was in like the London under something championships, and I was like younger than him. But after the game, he said, well, Simon, I was playing you, and you were talking to yourself about what you were going to play. So I was like, what? And he was like, you were going E4, D4, pawn takes there. And he was just listening to my analysis, and he knew what I was going to do. And I was like, what? Am I actually mad? Do I actually speak to myself? So I think I had to subconsciously like not speak to myself, and which is really weird. Very peculiar. And
I was just thinking, poor King's Crusher, because I also played him once, and again when I was young, and this time you said you were talking to yourself. I was doing my homework. I was sat there playing one move instantly, and then on the other thing I was doing some physics.
Really? What, when you were playing King's Crusher, or okay? I thought you said when you were playing me, you were doing like your maths.
No, I don't know. When I was doing, so I was thinking, poor King's Crusher.
So hang on a minute. Can we just go through that again? So you're playing King's Crusher, who probably gets really intense in the game.
Yeah, he gets
got,
really intense.
You've got your maths book there, thinking, oh, okay, I'll just do a little bit of algebra on the side, or maybe a little bit of geography.
Deadline, what can I say? So I was doing some physics, I think. I was sat there and I was like, okay, I'd make a move and then I'd go back and work on my physics.
Oh, okay. I mean, you probably would get thrown out of the tournament for that now. There's that case of Wesley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's bad, but it was bad. Yeah. And afterwards, I was, the worst thing is actually I completely wiped the floor with him as well. did you? And I felt a bit bad actually, you know, because it must have been super annoying that he plays this young girl.
Pretty annoying, yeah.
He's not even focusing 100%. I was like, oh, sorry.
Did you show him your work afterwards? Did you say, well, thanks for the
I did actually. I did say, oh look, I'm sorry, I was doing my homework.
Just doing a bit of history work here or something.
And he was super nice about it. He goes, yeah. So.
I do. Okay, back to King's Crusher. This is the same time I played him, and he was beating me. I don't know if I've told you a story before, but I was completely crushed. He was very confident, and he got up for the board because he knew it was checkmate in like, you know, a couple of moves. And I was about to resign. I was very young at the time. I don't know, 13 or something. And I was walking around, and I thought, right, okay, like, he's so confident. So I actually picked up my queen, and I put it into. I set the position up so he was in checkmate. You know, so he came back to the board and I said, checkmate. And he looked at the board because he thought I was about to resign, but he suddenly saw on the board that he was actually in checkmate. And I've never seen anyone. And he was like, literally, he looked like he was going to literally explode. And he was like, he didn't know what had happened. And I quickly said, I'm only joking, I resign. But yeah, poor King's Crusher. Sorry, King's Crusher.
I know someone else who did that to a grandmaster, the exact same trick.
Really? Oh, can you give names?
It was my husband.
Come on.
My husband. My husband. I can tell you what the reaction was.
I think I know the player. Maybe.
The grandmaster threw his score sheet at him.
Oh dear. So your husband set the position up in checkmate.
He resigned. Yeah, he resigned, and then he realized, oh, hang on a second. If he just changed the position a slightly bit, he'd actually sign the score sheets. He signed the score sheet with like 0-1, and he'd stop the clock and everything. So, but he thought, okay, wait a second. If I just switch these pieces over, then it's unstoppable, mate. And the grandmaster comes back, and then like your situation, he looks on the board and it's like, wow. I can't stop, mate.
And what did he do? So he got the score sheet and he just threw it at your husband's face. Yeah. Did he just storm out the hall?
He went like this, and then and my husband was a bit upset with that reaction.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a second. You're not taking my joke very well.
No. And did you? Did he apologise? Or did someone apologise, or did no one apologise?
No. What happened was that the grandmaster threw the score sheet at my husband. My husband reacted with throwing his score sheet back.
So, oh my word! So the tournament hall are just throwing score sheets.
Master ever again.
Oh wow! Okay, I think I know who it was as well. Actually, I won't mention any names.
No.
No, of course not. But I think I know which grandmaster it was. And
I think
so actually, a nice gentleman's game of chess, you know, which is supposed to be, you know, played in a very refined manner, with just higher brow people, turned into a paper throwing competition.
But you think that, right? You think that, okay. Well, the thing is, though, I was doing a bit of research on some chess history, and I've always kind of imagined that chess has kind of always been quite highbrow, because there was a time where it's like the intellectuals took over chess and chess became very scientific, like Botvinnik, very scientific, very hardworking. But I can tell you, when you read stuff that happened in the past, like with Steins and Blackburn, you're like, these guys were getting into brawls. You know, there was this big thing about like they were.
Really? Yeah, the old players used to fight, did they?
Like literally, and really? This was a bit of an urban myth, but I mean,
okay.
What they kind of said is that that Blackburn and Steins, they were playing each other. Steins was a bit upset by Blackburn's behavior, and so he started disputing something, and Blackburn just had enough and just threw Steins out of the window.
Is this the origins of chess boxing? do we
Yeah,
think?
more or less. I mean, and it's quite
This
funny because that's how that's how the kind of the urban legend happened. And then Steins later said, that's not actually what happened. I was the one that threw Blackburn out of the window. And he kind of said, oh, well, he came back drunk. They were kind of staying in adjacent rooms, and Blackburn came back drunk and started picking a fight with Steins, and Steins was just like, I've had enough of this, and just threw him out the window. and you think that these guys were, well, I've always thought these guys were gentlemen, like rich guys that drank tea and said, oh, I play pawn to king 4, and the answer is pawn to king 5, you know.
I think gentlemen are often the worst. If you look at some politicians, maybe in some countries, I won't go into any names, but you could probably guess that.
Yeah.
You know, leaders of countries and other politicians not always good.
No.
We are actually. I mean, I know a lot of you are wondering what the hell are these guys doing? Is this a chess show or a bloody chat show? We're actually changing this show to chesschat.com with me and Jovanka. For the next 5 hours, we're just going to tell you some stories, all right?
Yeah.
With our soothing, well, I say Jovanka's soothing voice, at least. But
no, I think you have a soothing voice too. We know a lot of gossip between us, don't we, Simon?
We've got many stories we could say and not say.
Yeah.
But the chess will be starting. You may have gathered, I see a lot of you in chat talking about certain things, and I think there's internet issues and stuff like that being an event. We're not actually sure, but we're going to take a break, 10-15 minutes, and I promise you there'll be more games when we come back, and we'll also update you on what's happening, what stuff's been going on to delay it, I think, as well. So go and get yourself a nice cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and we'll see everyone soon, Jovanka, yeah?
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Hi everyone, welcome to the quarter-final coverage of the 2020 Online Chess Olympiad, a real unique event, never been done before, obviously because of the situation in the world, but it's going very well. Now, I know there's been a lot of rumors going about in the chat about stuff that happened in the last match. Now, I cannot confirm or deny any of those rumors, I'm afraid. Not in a position to do that. I will, and Jovanka will keep you updated when we get more information and when we're able to do so. But you've got to understand everyone's position as well. Yeah, do you think I could be a politician, Jovanka?
I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank
you just need to be standing in front of your house with your family and your cat.
Have you seen the Little Britain?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
The one where he said, "I cannot confirm or deny that I was on Clapham Common." Is that the one you're thinking of? And I may have slipped. And okay, yeah, we won't go there.
Okay, Simon.
I better stop that conversation right where we are.
Yes, you absolutely do.
I think, there is that's enough of that. So you can watch it. Little Britain, very good British comedy, but it may be a little bit, well, not X-rated, but adult-rated if I continue. So
it's not for sensitive viewers.
No.
Okay, so.
So we're kind of waiting, aren't we, Frankie? We're waiting to give you more information and to obviously get back into the chess, which we are obviously very excited about. And that will happen. We just got to show a little bit of patience. But you know what? If you want to be a good chess player, you have to be a little bit patient. So we're training you in your chess abilities. You know,
I do wonder whether, I mean, this pause, who's it going to benefit, do you think? Do you think India or Armenia? Because, of course, Armenia are in a must-win situation. Is it good to have this extended break so they can just kind of collect their thoughts and come back and kind of be fresh without any of the emotion from the previous encounter? Or do you think that it will perhaps favor India?
I don't think it should affect India. I mean, I think we're actually now getting news that we can maybe say a little bit more stuff about what happened. As it is on Twitter. So I'm just basically going to read out what sort of the gist of things were on Twitter. And if you watch the first match, it was India, of course, were playing against Armenia. Very, very, very close match. And what happened was in the game between Nihal Sarin and his opponent Haik of Armenia, it was a very close game. Nihal Sarin was a pawn up, and at that moment in time, apparently Garry Kasparov came running into the room and started suggesting moves to Nihal. Apparently he flied out over to India, and he was seen in the room. And Armenia made an appeal that they saw Garry Kasparov in the room at the same time as Nihal Sarin on the camera, and they're appealing against that as we speak. So we're just awaiting confirmation if Garry was actually out in India and if the appeal is going through. No, he basically, Haik got disconnected and lost on time, and Armenia have appealed that it was not the fault of the player, but it was a fault of something else, and we're waiting to hear the result of the appeal if it's going to go through, because that was the key game, meaning that if it wasn't the fault of the player or their internet, these are the things we face on online competitions, something will happen. So we just have to tell you when we know the result of the appeal. It hasn't been decided quite yet.
Well, some federations I know have taken action to safeguard from disconnects, that they have all their players playing in one location. So I know, I think in fact, India were the victims of a disconnection and a big power failure, and Vidit and Humpy lost their games. And so as a result of that, I think some of them are playing in a hotel, one of these 5-star hotels with its own generator, so that if there's any power disconnection, that their internet will continue. And I know that the Russian team are all playing in the same venue in the Moscow Chess Club, again with super fast internet. So I think I've seen from the webcams that some of the Armenian players are also playing in the same venue.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really unfortunate. I'd just like to confirm what I was talking about with Gary Kasparov was absolutely a load of rubbish. Don't know why I said it. Just one of the things I do occasionally. So don't take any seriousness there. It's all about disconnect, and it happens online, doesn't it? I mean, I think most top chairs players, I've even seen Magnus having trouble sometimes with his connection in Norway and other things. What can you do? It's an online competition. The show must go on, but you've got to, they're obviously can place an appeal in, but it's got to be based on not their fault of their equipment, I'm assuming, but some other problem that occurred. And we're just, again, waiting to hear what will happen with that at the moment. Important appeal, I guess. Have you ever appealed, Jovanka, with any, have you ever had a result that you think was unfair and had to put an appeal into the arbiter?
No. The only time I've ever appealed anything in terms of chess was actually, it used to be the case in the chess leagues that you used to go and play on a Tuesday or Thursday night, and you'd reach a certain time, and then you could either choose to adjourn your game or get it adjudicated. And I chose to have it adjudicated, and it came back a draw. And I was like, no, this position is won. And so I then had to submit all this analysis as to why it was won, and that was successful. So
that's good.
That's about the only time I've ever appealed anything.
So you overturned it.
Yeah.
I remember one of the times I think I cried the most was I think I was, when I was like 12, I was quite serious and I didn't like losing. I wouldn't, I shed the odd tear. The only time I've done that since is someone called Ben Feingold, but we won't go there. And it went down to adjudication. And the reason you don't have adjudication or adjournment, is where you play, it comes to the end of the playing session, you play again 8 hours later or the next morning. And this is before computers were good. Of course, you can't do this now because computers would have too much of an effect. And I think I was like 12 and I was a pawn up and a rook ending, probably winning. And you had to seal your move into an envelope and hand it to the arbiter. And then he would open the envelope 8 hours later when we got back to the board. And I sealed, because I'm dyslexic, you can probably tell my pronunciation sometimes. I got my twos or B's and A's the wrong way around. So I meant to put B, but I put G. So I sealed an illegal move, which was a winning move and a rook ending. And he opened up it and it was an impossible move. So I lost the game, just said, oh, sorry, legal move, you lose. So it was like, oh, come on. So that was very upsetting, that one. But I don't think I've ever had to appeal in a situation. It's very rare, isn't it, Jovanka, that you have trouble in a professional tournament at all?
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely rare. And most of the time, most of my experience is that the appeals are not successful. I mean, because often it's like the game, you have to take the decision to say something to an arbiter during the game, not after the game, because once it's done, it's very, very difficult to change a result.
Yeah.
Like I do remember what we had one situation with the women's team where I was a playing captain because we didn't have enough money for a separate captain. So, and I remember I finished my game quite early, but the England girls, her opponent just got up and just left the venue. She just disappeared off, muttered to her coach in whatever language it was, and then left the venue. And we were waiting for her to come back and kind of like go, well, what's happening? And then she was allowed to play. And we wanted to appeal that. And we were kind of advised by the arbiters, don't appeal that because the result will still stand and it doesn't matter. You're just wasting your money. So since then I've learned that if you have a problem with your opponent, you take it up there and then. You don't wait until the game is over. You take it up there and then.
So you basically should say, look, you're wrong. I've got to have a word with you now.
Yeah.
Rather than wait until the end. Yeah.
Yeah, so, exactly. You got to take it up then because once the game is over, and it's incredibly difficult to change things.
Yeah, of course that's different when it's disconnection things because they didn't have a chance to do that then. So it's understandable they're doing it now. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything that's annoying you, it's like, you often get very annoying opponents. I think we've all had them, and some people are more affected by this than others. But I mean, I've had opponents who I'm playing them, and they get up and they literally like lean on me. You know, they lean on the back of my chair. So I'm thinking about the position. They come round and they start leaning on my chair, and it's like, you know, what the hell are you doing? You know, why you're just trying to put me off? Or they get up and they're in my field of vision and they start like jumping about, you know, just trying to. Oh, you're not Noddy the Noddy dog, are you? So what are you doing? Just sit down, behave yourself.
Was it you, Simon, who was quoted as saying, "There's a player, I'm not going to mention any names, who likes to purr."
Felix. Yeah. Yep, he doesn't mind.
And was it you? He went woof woof.
It may have been, yeah, it may have been.
And he literally bounced back, and then actually it's never purred again in front of you. That was pretty irritating, actually, to have someone go.
I know. I was unbelievable, and he was a strong player, like 22, 2300, and he actually got onto "Have I Got News for You?" You know, the famous TV program. That quote, because I mean, he basically, like Jovanka says, you're playing him, and he'd be like, meow, meow. You're like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? You know, literally, what is literally wrong with you? So I thought, okay, if he's going to start messing around like this, you know, what do cats not like? Dogs. So he was like, meow, and I was like, woof. He was like, what? He was like, whenever he meowed, I'd give him a bit of a woof back. Very weird scenes in that tournament, you know. Bit of that's just odd. Very strange. So I mean, there's been loads of weird incidents of the boards. I mean, also, what about draw offers? Draw offers are, I you know, I like it when someone offers you, you know, if you're offered a draw, I think it's polite to say something.
Yes.
So I think if I offer a draw, I expect my opponent to either shake my hand or say no, thank you. I don't like it when they don't say anything.
No, I agree with you. I don't like that either. Even though I have occasionally done that, I'm also not a big fan of when people continuously offer you a draw.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
And they offer you a draw in your time.
Oh yeah, that's bad. Yeah,
that's bad. I mean, for me, it's not good. You know, it's continuously offer me a draw and then do it on my time. It gets a bit annoying. It's not great etiquette.
No, it's not. I mean, I remember some funny draw things. I mean, I hate it when they offer draw, but I remember I was sitting next to the grandmaster, and his younger opponent offered him a draw, and rather than saying no, I wish to play on, I think he was a little bit insulted. So he actually pushed his chair back. He stood up and he went, "Where?" And then he just sat down again and started playing again. So I thought, that's a unique way to turn down a draw. Would you like a draw? Or no, I think his opponent said draw. He was like, "Oh, where's that then?" And he just sat down again and crushed the guy.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're really going a bit off tangent here, aren't we?
We are. Oh, look, where's the chess?
Don't know.
But I think I had also a story about this kid that, okay, he's now an adult now, but he because it takes some courage to offer your higher rated opponent a draw. And he was playing a grandmaster, and he was really quite timid about it, but he felt quite confident that the position was a draw. So he worked up the courage to kind of go, draw. And the grandmaster went, "Hey, let's play, kid." And he goes, okay, I'm gonna just retreat. And he lost. He lost quite sadly. Yeah.
Another funny time was I was playing. I think you won't mind. Karma in the British under 12 championships or something, and it was the key game to decide who will become British champion, which I've never become. I was Blitz British champion once, but that was a long time ago. And he started humming. It's a very complicated position, and I was trying to find a perpetual check, and he was like, so I said, could you please stop humming? And he just said no. He started doing that again. I was like, what? And then I started thinking again, and you know what he then says? He then says to me, he says, by the way, I've analysed the position. There's no draw. Don't waste your time. And I'm like, this is quite an important round of the British under 12, and it totally threw me. And then he beat me very easily. So you know, it's that was a weird one. You know, when
That
you're
is a bit
juniors,
weird. That's the kind of the stuff that I used to do when I was like 7.
yeah, when you're young, it's different.
When you're young, you know, I remember I had
Yeah.
chess worked out to a formula, and I was just like, yeah. And I used to beat everyone with this little mating thing that I did. And I do remember that I used to go to my opponents, you know, because again, when you're 6 years old or 7 years old, you just want to shake hands and go. And he wouldn't shake hands, and it was checkmate. And he was just like sat there for 5 minutes just looking. And I was just like looking at him going, it's checkmate. And he kept saying, I'm thinking. And I was like, it's checkmate.
Oh.
Why are you stopping me from going out?
Now, Jovanka, that wasn't me, was it?
No,
did I start crying?
No, I think quite rightly you just not when we were kids, but just now last year you just strode off. You were like, I understood why.
After the game, yeah, I think
it was. I got away with murder. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think I probably had quite a heavy night as well, and I was like, just get out of there. And the crowd was there. It's really horrible when there's a massive crowd and you know you're throwing away a win. Quite an important round of the British Championships. It's nothing to do, obviously, with you. So sorry if I upset you, but I just had to get out of there.
No. I completely understood. You know, when that happens, it's not personal. I mean, I did it to Keith Harkle, and I think Keith Harkle's a great guy, top legend. But you know, I lost to him, and and then I sent him a message in the evening and said, "Look, I'm sorry for just walking away. It was nothing personal. It was just I was so focused on upset with a turn of events."
Yeah. Yes. So we are still obviously doing chess related things today. I feel it's still the chess Olympiad, but we're waiting for an update on the situation and what's happening between India and Armenia. It's blooming along a pier, isn't it? I mean, what are they doing? Are they flying over there to interview the players or something, you know, on their private jets?
I guess you have to check the technical specifications. I guess it's not just a case of because now we're talking about technical things, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I guess they have to run a technical thing on the computer because it could be the computer's fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which case,
it could be many sort of things.
It could be many variables. I guess you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So
it's an important competition. It's the Olympiad, which is you know, one of the most important, something that needs to be done. We would be into Russia versus Hungary, I think, quite soon, but I'm sure everything will be delayed a little bit now. That's the only thing that can happen at the moment in time as well. So yeah, I mean, who's your most annoying opponent then that you've ever played? So I've talked about the jumpers. They just like, you know, they just go in your field of vision when you're trying to concentrate, and they just have to give it a little bit of shaking Stevens, you know. And you know, I also find, you know, anyone who makes weird noises, as we know, quite annoying, you know. Smelly people, not too good to sit opposite them.
That's not too good. I try not to let myself be fazed by these things, especially when it comes to noisy people or something. I'm quite proud of myself, actually. My biggest ever thing that I managed to ignore was, and it was a tournament that you organised, Simon. It was the Big Slick, the drilling.
Oh my God.
I mean, incessant drilling coming from above our tournament hall, and that took a lot of concentration, but I did it. I got over this. I managed to get over this drilling that carried on for about an hour or something, and while everyone else was quite flustered and bothered by it, and then there was a thunderclap, lightning, and then the noise stopped, unsurprisingly. What I could not ignore was the water that then proceeded to come down into the venue from the light switches and from the light bulbs and things. And I was like, okay, that one I can't ignore. I'm not playing chess here.
Did the ceiling then come down?
Yeah, exactly. Just water started coming through the ceiling. Yeah, it was like,
the ceiling collapsed.
It was a great. I really like playing in the Big Slick, but it was a kind of unusual tournament. I mean, I've never had a tournament where the carpet has. I've actually had to have a fight with a carpet. You know, I try to get up, and the carpet's like, no,
you're not going anywhere. Well, let's just say I didn't run many more tournaments after that one. I mean, this is a tournament I try to run I used to play a lot of poker, and it was in quite a funny place in London, in this underground poker club, which was legal, and they didn't really have anything going on in the day. So I decided I'd try running a chess tournament there, a Grandmaster International Master Chess Tournament. You got to try things in life. So yeah, as Jovanka said, we run this tournament, and you know, it was quite a weird little place. It was basically in some kind of like dungeon-like area. And yeah, as Jovanka said, it had some problems, like the ceiling did fall in, and you know, rain started gushing in onto the players in quite an important tournament. So we had to move people out into the car park. We just moved the tables outside, put them in the car park, the underground car park, and said, do you mind playing next to this, you know, next to this Range Rover over here, in the car park? And yeah, another day, well, the first day there was an open going on there. We managed to squeeze in like 50 people, and we didn't realize there was a gym next door. And I've probably said this before, there's 50 people. They just started playing their game, and all of a sudden the walls are very thin, and this music starts, a bit of techno, and you also had like people saying left, right, put your bum in the air, wiggle that bum, and it was really loud, and people were coming up to me and saying, stop the music. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm not a magician. What do you want me to do? I can't stop the music. And then people were luckily getting into it and doing a bit of dancing while they were playing. Yeah, but I didn't run any more tournaments after that, Jovanka. You'll be glad to hear. So,
no, it was a great tournament in terms of the players, and I had a great time. You know, Lawrence Cooper also helped you, and he's a great friend. It's the thing is that the players do really make the tournaments, and this kind of, instead of being something dreadful, I look back on this time with like, this is a great story to tell, and I laugh about it a lot. So it's good.
yeah,
and it's quite funny. It's the first time I've ever been a diva as well. I said to Lawrence Cooper, I was like, Lawrence, I want to play on board 1. And he's like, no, it's to do with score. I was like, no, you're going to put me on board 1. the other ones, I'm having too much of a fight with the carpet. Board 1 is fine.
I mean, I think basically what happened at this venue, we'd have to stop the chess by about 7 o'clock. And then all the poker posse would come in. We'd have to clear up all the boards, and they'd play poker literally until 8 a.m. And everyone would be drinking, spilling beer on the floor. They'd clear off again, we'd start the chess again. So every new morning, poor Jovanka with her lovely shoes would be fighting about 20 pints of Foster's, which had been spilt on the carpet. So it'd be new, at least it'd be new beer every day that your shoes were fighting. Does that make it any better? You know, not really, I guess.
Not really, no, not really. But like I said, it's quite funny. Okay. I mean, some of my best tournaments actually have been in very strange situations. Like I won the European Girls Under 20, and it wasn't a great tournament. It wasn't a great event. I mean, I know that the federation had booked that I would have a single room. I ended up sharing with 3 other girls, and I got there early, and I was like, great, this bed is mine. And then I went off with the other team members, and then I came back too late, and suddenly I'd been allocated this terrible bed, and I was like, okay, I want to sleep on the mattress. And I got bitten every single night, but I ended up winning this tournament. So
there's a lesson to be learned there. What you need to, end up getting bitten every night. Well, the girls are biting you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have some suffering, some kind of distraction, so that ultimately the chess is a beautiful distraction. I've had the same with the London Classic as well. I've been playing there with like terrible colds because it's in December, and you know, it's the flu season. I played there with awful colds. I think I had some blocked ears at some stage, and the world was just spinning. And when I went and played chess, it was like, I'm so happy to be focused on something else other than the fact that the world is spinning. So I did well.
Yeah. So the key is to be a stronger chess player, get bitten at night time.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So get the bed bugs in. Yeah. So that doesn't sound very pleasant.
Some desperation, I think, something so that chess is something that is just a welcome distraction from everything that's happening in your life.
Yeah. Well, chess is beautiful for that. I mean, one of the reasons I love it, it's kind of a way to meditate, really, because you can just go into a zone and forget about everything else and enjoy the game of chess, which is good. So and just an update on what's going on. There is no update. So what I mean by that is this appeal in the match between India and Armenia has taken place. And if anyone's just joined us, what's happened is that it's a very close match. And Nihal was playing against Haik of Armenia. Haik's internet basically went down for whatever reason, and he lost on time. And that means that Armenia lost the match. I think if he'd have drawn the game, it would have then gone to a drawn match.
It would have been drawn. It's a critical game, actually.
Yeah, critical game. It was, yeah. And so they're appealing, and they're appealing to, to see if the result can be turned around. Obviously, due process has to be done.
Yeah, and it requires investigation as well. I'm sure it's not a case of going, no, you have to investigate all the variables. You check the servers, you check the computer specification. Maybe the computer itself has a problem. Maybe there was some glitch in the terms of the Armenian side. The internet was down or some kind of something. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but these kind of things do happen.
I mean, it's nothing, by the way, it's nothing to do with India. India haven't done anything wrong.
No.
That's not the question whatsoever. The question is, was the disconnection a fault? I guess, this is me guessing, this is not the official line, I'm just pondering, was it a fault of the player or team, or was it another external fault? And they're trying to work this out, so they have to go through all of this. And I can't believe how long we've been talking. How long have we done this now? What minute are we into? I think we've done, we've done at least 10 minutes, but
I think the game should have been. I think the match should have been over by now. Actually, if we'd been, if they'd carried on normal, resumed in time. So,
and I think Armenia were playing all in the same venue, but I can't confirm that. But I think a lot of the team may have been playing the same venue. I'm sure not everyone.
I recognize the venue from the camera. I know that some of the players are based not in Armenia. Like I don't think Levon. He had a different background, but some of them, it looked to me like it was the chess house.
Right. I played it. I've been there, played in the chess house in Armenia.
Or what I think is the chess house. I have to actually specify. I think that is the chess house. I'm quite sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So as soon as we hear anything, we'll keep you updated. Also, I'll keep an eye on the chat. So hello to everyone. I'm looking in the Twitch chess chat. So if you've got any questions for me or Jovanka, then I can pick out some questions from the chat.
I just saw one. It says, "Are you excited about the new Queen's Gambit that's going to get released by Netflix?"
Yeah. It looks awesome. Yeah, it looks awesome.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's got this quite beautiful girl, and she seems to be a bit of a pill-popping chess genius. So yeah, great. It looks really good. This is on. This is going to be awesome on
October.
Netflix.
It's going to get released. Not that far away. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because in that book, the chess plays like a central part to it. And I haven't seen too many good chess films. For me, the best one is The Queen of Katwe. The chess and the mannerisms of the kids.
The Disney film,
realistic. It was brilliant. I wasn't impressed by the pawn one.
Sacrifice. Yeah,
by Tobey Maguire. The way that they moved the pieces, I was like, guys.
Cringeworthy.
Yeah, it was just like they moved the pieces like this, like that. And somehow chess players are quite fluid. Once you get accustomed to the pieces, you start to kind of
were they stompers? They were like
it was stompers. Yeah, they were just like bam, bam. And in one case it was like an illegal position. And I just thought, it's a film about chess.
Yeah. It is. You get lots of people. I noticed this. They have different styles of moving the pieces, and just normally moving the pieces is good. But people who you've got slammers, the screwers. There's lots of screwers out there who basically screw too much. They go there and they screw it into the board. Like they're trying to literally put it into the board. Don't really like that technique. The fluid movers are the best. Yeah.
Everyone moves in a kind of very fluid. Whichever your style is, you move in a very fluid movement. It's very natural to you.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going.
Yeah. Are you a fluid mover, a stomper, a screwer, or something else? Fully, I would say.
Haven't really paid attention. The only thing that I do is I turn the knights to face forward.
Okay, yeah.
That's the only thing I like to do. I'm like, they're coming at you, my friend.
I'm the same as you. I know Kasparov used to have the knights face that way, and if I'm playing a really annoying opponent who, for some reason, I sometimes turn my knights backwards because that looks really weird and puts them off as well.
I was going to say that. I've never ever played an opponent that put them backward. Well, that's be a psychological trick. I think it might put me off actually.
I think it is, but if someone's like not adjusting their pieces and and it maybe gives me the wet handshake. I know we bloody elbow bump now, but when you get the handshake at the start of the game, if someone's like literally like this, they think they're the Queen of England, and they're, you may touch my fingers, and you try to shake their hand, and maybe their hand's like really wet or something. Oh God, does that ever happen to you? You're giving someone a handshake, and it feels like they've just, I don't know, taking their hand out of the bath or something.
Many times. No, I mean it's pretty. I mean. Yeah. But I'm guilty of doing I must admit, I'm guilty of doing the wet fish. Not the wet fish, but the fish, okay. the limpy when I'm annoyed. When I've lost and I'm really annoyed with myself. I just can't. I just look away.
Yeah, I can understand that. Just a little finger shuffle at the end. So, I mean, talking about chess films as well, I'm thinking of, what is everyone's favorite chess film? Maybe you can ask this in the chat as well. I think probably my one. I think it's called Dark Knight. Not the Batman film, but the one based in New Zealand. I think it's called Dark Knight. It's a really good, not such a high budget film, but it was over in based in New Zealand about people from a poor upground, how chess helps them out and stuff like that. So that was good. That's a good film. That people might not be. Oh yeah, no, sorry, the best one. Oh, I'm going crazy now. Someone's just reminded me. Fake Fisher 72. Dark Horse is the one I'm thinking of, but my favorite one and another brilliant one is and this is really not very well known. It's called Ivory Tower by Chili Gonzalez. Chili Gonzalez is a musician. Do you know him, Jovanka? Chili Gonzalez, he's like a classical piano player, but he's also done rap stuff, and he's a really, really good musician. He made this chess film called Ivory Tower, and it's kind of a comedy chess film. It's a bit bizarre, but he's like, he trains for his matches by doing like, hand movements like this. So he's like,
oh no, it's not one of these. It's not one of these like Saved by the Bell when he goes to chess club and they're like,
no,
exercise those fingers.
he does. It's done in a very like funny way, and it's like adult. It's adult film, and he, when he takes his opponent's pieces at the board, he's got his little bag, and he, if he takes a queen, he's like, he gets his bag, he puts it in, ties his bag up. It's really good. It's really good. Trust me. And Chili Gonzalez is a bit of a legendary musician as well.
Okay.
So
I will take your word for it, and I'll check it out because I do have some like, I don't know. Do you remember SMTV with Ant and Dec and Cat?
Ant or Dec.
And Dec, yeah. They had this sketch as well where they were playing chess, and there was a very serious commentator, and they were both like this, and suddenly, what do you call this? Those knocking balls comes down and just demolishes them.
So what did you say? Those knocking.
Ant and Dec were like fake, being like Russian grandmasters, Soviet grandmasters, and they're like, they're all quiet, and serious, and there's a serious commentary running at the background. He's just played e4, and he's just made them pawn. They always say pawn to king 5 or knight king bishop 3. And then
we're being told. Sorry, Jovanka, to interrupt. We're just being told that it's time to take a break now because I think they're getting ready with the games, and I think, I'm not sure, but we have a bit more news, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and hopefully it won't just be the Simon and Jovanka show for the rest of the day. As much as I'm quite enjoying it, I could get myself in trouble, I feel, if I talk anymore. So hopefully we get back to some chess soon. So we'll be back in 5 minutes anyway.
Looking forward to it, Simon.
Good stuff.